Reds under the bed. Is this the return of McCarthyism? Hello and welcome to today's Daily Blitz. Boris, when I last saw you, you were glued to your computer screen with your headphones waiting for Mike Pence to start his speech. Why did the American Vice President say we've rebuilt China over the last 25 years?
Yes, that's quite right. I was waiting for quite a while for Mike Pence to arrive on the stage, but he did. And in which he did take credit. He said US should take credit, effectively, for rebuilding China over the last 25 years. And that's very important for investors to understand, as it shows a regime change, effectively, in how the US is containing and engaging with China. So this is quite overtly taking credit for China's rise, which is sure to rile up the Chinese Communist Party. And at the same time, it's also going to signify that effectively US companies that are looking to offshore their manufacturing, all of that is going to effectively be annulled.
Did the American Vice President mention human rights violations in trade as well?
Yes, he did. He'd highlighted both of those for that matter. And he didn't go quite as hard as I thought he would. He didn't highlight China's organ harvesting, but he did speak about oppression of religious minorities. And he also said that IP theft was still rampant from China to the US, and that things had pretty much gotten worse over the last year rather than better.
He also had some complaints about the American private sector, I've heard.
Yes, that's quite correct. So not only was he going anti-China, he was actually sort of turning his ire inward and speaking of almost the enemy within the US. It was very McCarthyistic in its sort of flavor, where he went against not only previous administrations, saying they'd aided and abetted China's rise, despite their human rights violations. He also said that Washington interests had actually profited from those human rights violations, which is really, really quite an extreme accusation. He also then went on to say that, within the private sector, there's an awful lot of appeasement of China, and he criticized corporate greed. So he went against Nike, he went against the NBA, he went against movie studios, he went against state and federal officials that had sold influence to China, and it was really, he framed the entire speech within the context of that the US should now take the harder right rather than the easier wrong, and just continue to effectively take the economic pain that will do, while at the same time upping the ante with China and really containing the country.
And how does all of this fit into your narrative of Cold War II starting again?
So I think this is just another escalation of what will inevitably become a Cold War as overt as the last one was, but just with 21st century characteristics. And so I think what investors should be prepared for is really just this escalation with China only to continue, and to see more companies in the US, more investors globally start to be targeted by this rift between the two countries. So you'll see ever more Western industry moving out of China, either because they're coerced to by the government, or because they fear being coerced to by the government in the future.
So there you go, Reds really are under the bed and McCarthyism is back. Thanks for watching today's Daily Blitz, and don't forget to share this video.